What a time for podcasting, folks. Let me tell you, we're looking right now at a lot of great things going on with podcasting thanks to the deal that Joe Rogan had to bring his show now over to Spotify. But again, we're just looking at the numbers, and there's so many good numbers that are out there. Let's go ahead and show you those right now. Taking a look, we're seeing the Stitcher Podcasting Report for 2020. Take a look at this. So in this, it's a decade of industry growth from the app perspective, and I've been on Stitcher with all my podcasts for many years. So they want to show you some numbers. The number of podcasts published in Stitcher has grown more than 129,000% since 2010. State of Washington ranks number 4 in listening hours, despite being number 13 in highest population. 2/3 of podcasts are streamed rather than downloaded. That's more because of the bandwidth that we have out there for all these different shows. Episodes are trending shorter. The length is now shortened by 2.4 minutes since 2013. And I noticed I try to keep my shows, my normal podcast, to within an hour, and these different episodes to no more than 30 minutes. I try to keep them around 20 minutes or 10 to 20 minutes at the most. Gen X is dedicated. That's the 18 to 34 group that makes up the largest chunk of listeners. 35 to 55 is more dedicated based on listening hours, number of shows that they've added to their favorites. And there's been an increase. Demand. Well, listening has decreased in weekday commuting hours right now because of the pandemic, but the second half of April saw a return to pre-pandemic levels of listening patterns. So that's really good stuff. And they have the full report on here. Really like they've all put that together. Some interesting stories. But now what's going to happen to podcasting, even though everything's going so well? Well, there's an issue that's brought up by Forbes. They said that there is a walled garden problem. Let's talk about it. So the podcast wars are already in full bloom. Last week turned out to be a historic one. They talk about how runaway cult hit Call Her Daddy's contract dispute became public fodder when Barstool sports founder El Presidente took to the airwaves to hear out his side of the negotiations. Equal parts entertaining and obscene. Barstool's public addresses have crucially treated fans to an inside look at sheer scale of podcasting revenues, retention value of on-mic talent, and importance of intellectual property. So Spotify then talked about the new deal with Joe Rogan. We saw that. And in just 5 years since they added podcasts to their music streaming app, Spotify has now become the de facto behemoth in podcasting. So now, with that said, Apple actually was originally the real leaders when it came to this, but their podcasting share has fallen a bit. And there's been a little bit of a stagnation on how much money they've been making. But they've also been working on other things like the video series on Apple TV and other things like that. And while all these mega distributors duke it out, they talk about Barstool, Wondery, Crooked Media, Luminary, and others. The winners in podcasting farm are decided, but hedge lines are being drawn, millions of potential revenue at stake. It's more important than ever to better understand where each business lies in the podcasting value chain and what this walled garden strategy pretends, and why walled gardens are a worse outcome for independent creators and by extension, the you, the listener. The deal is, Apple's also trying to buy their own podcast. iHeartMedia has been buying podcasts for the iHeartRadio app. The whole point is, it doesn't matter about all these other podcasts getting bought up. There's going to be corporate shows. But unlike what radio is, what we need to have more than anything else is that podcasting has to stay firm with the grassroots model. Like shows like mine are not going to get bought up by everybody. I mean, I'm lucky that Spreaker actually put me on for a pilot program so I can actually get support. And it's people like Spreaker that are helping out the small guys like me to get more out there. And Anchor, which is what Spotify offers for people to get on to podcasts themselves. These kind of things, we're still seeing the opportunity for people to go ahead and speak their mind on podcasting. And more than anything else, we need that free speech. We want to have that diversity of content, diversity of opinion, diversity of thought. That's great stuff. So let others be bought off. That's fine. And those will make a lot of money. That's fine. But if they're going to crumble and they're going to be hurt by the walled garden, as this story pretends, then that's fine. Then we'll take the spot.